everyone, this is Amy. Welcome to my channel. If you watch me a lot, you know that I'm always talking about organic and grass-fed meats. Today, I'm going to provide you with in-depth information and explain the science behind grass-fed and organic meats. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I'm an ISSA certified elite trainer, specialist in strength and conditioning, precision nutrition certified nutrition coach, and PSA ranked and rated figure skating coach. I work with skaters, athletes, and even other coaches to help them create change and get real results. If you've watched my videos before, you've probably seen me do organic unboxings and grass-fed meat unboxings, or you've at least heard me talk about them. Why do I always suggest organic and grass-fed meat? Organic meats, milk, and eggs must come from livestock raised on certified organic land, meeting all criteria for organic agriculture. They must be fed a 100% organic diet without animal byproducts or synthetic preservatives, raised without antibiotics, growth hormones, and allowed year-round access to the outdoors. Why is this a good thing? Well, if you recall mad cow disease, a cow gets this by eating feed contaminated with parts that came from another cow that was sick. By eliminating animal byproducts in animal feed, you eliminate this kind of issue. And eating food that has been raised with antibiotics can potentially contribute to the development and spread of drug-resistant bacteria, which is a potential risk to public health. While there's no definitive proof that growth hormones found in meat and dairy products will lead to cancer or cause early puberty, ambiguity comes from the fact that many of the hormones found in these products naturally occur in both the animal and the human consumer. It is difficult to differentiate between synthetic hormones and naturally occurring hormones in meat or dairy samples. Plus, the effects of consuming growth hormones through meat and dairy can take a long time to present themselves. But here's the thing, the EU has banned all hormones in beef, and RBGH has been banned in Japan, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So if many other countries think this is an issue, I believe it's just wise to avoid growth hormones. Also, synthetic preservatives can cause allergic reactions, including headaches, sweating, redness of the skin, nausea, weakness, and worsening asthma following the consumption of food containing MSG. I have a whole other video about food labels, and if you missed that, there's a link to it in the description down below. Organic meats have to be fed an all-organic diet. That does not contain pesticides. I also have a whole video on organic produce, fruits, and vegetables, and there's a link to that too in the description down below. USDA has several fact sheets available on its website. Take a look at the organic livestock requirements fact sheet to see the regulations that are already in place for meat, eggs, and milk. Due to differences in livestock, conditions, and feeds, organic livestock will have less exposure to environmental toxins, such as pesticides and other persistent organic pollutants, or POPs. The lipid solubility of these toxins means that they accumulate primarily in fat, whether it's found in meat fat, milk fat, or egg yolks. And available data does suggest that exposure is a health concern. Now, most research comparing organic and conventional meats, dairy, and eggs focuses on the differences in nutrition content, mostly the fatty acid profile. Now, you've heard the expression, you are what you eat. This applies to meat, dairy, and eggs because the animal's diet is known to modify the fatty acid profile of its meat or its milk or its eggs. Organic meats have 47% more omega-3 fatty acids than conventional meats do. And there's a theoretic concern that POP accumulation may be more significant in conventional livestock and its related food. Although organic standards are a step in the right direction towards increased animal welfare compared to conventional livestock conditions, I always look for grass-fed and finished meats because the animals were raised on pasture throughout their entire lifespan. And here's why. Grass-fed and finished meat, or 100% grass-fed meat, replicates the animal's natural environment and ensures their continued consumption of an ecologically appropriate diet. Like organic choices, these food choices are driven by perceptions of increased animal welfare and healthfulness related to its meat, milk, and eggs. For example, cattle certified as organic requires the cattle to be grazed on an organic pasture throughout the entire grazing season. However, because of the variable time frame, the overall requirement for grass in the diet is a 30% minimum. And these rules only apply until the final 120 days of a cattle's life. During the last 120 days, a cattle can be grain-fed and still be certified organic. And this grain feeding period is long enough to substantially impact the quality of meat by increasing fat content anywhere from 2-fold to 4-fold. Grain feeding can alter the fatty acid profile of beef, which is higher in monounsaturated fatty acids, lower in polyunsaturated fatty acids, and higher in the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. And these findings are consistent across numerous studies comparing beef from grass-fed and finished cattle to grain-fed cattle. Beef from grass-fed and finished cattle is leaner and contains more omega-3 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA, and vitamins A and E. However, the extent of the differences does vary because the nutritional content of beef depends heavily on the type of forage crops that were eaten by the animal, as well as the animal's age and breed and the season. But overall, choosing grass-fed and finished beef can have the most significant nutritional impact, especially if you don't like eating seafood, because beef from grass-fed and finished cattle can help to boost your intake of EPA and DHA. In fact, just swapping out 690 grams per week, which is about 24 ounces or 1.5 pounds, of red meat from conventional cattle for red meat from grass-fed cattle has been shown to significantly increase serum concentrations of total omega-3 fatty acids. This includes DHA and reduces the serum omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. As with meat itself, the milk and eggs produced from the livestock are influenced by the animal's diet. For example, feeding dairy cows an increased amount of grass in the diet leads directly to proportionate decreases in saturated fat and increases mono and polyunsaturated fats, including CLA and ALA. Other studies have reported similar observations. However, what is the real-world relevance of this? Well, the increase in omega-3 means that ALA from 0.22 grams per 100 grams of milk fat in conventional dairy to 0.7 grams per 100 grams of fat in 100% grass-fed dairy. These increases may sound small, but to me, it's enough. Similarly, the increase in CLA from conventional to 100% grass-fed was 0.48 to 1.65 grams per 100 grams of milk fat. In a controlled trial, participants supplemented their diets with 2.2 to 2.7 grams of CLA per day for several weeks. There was a marginal reduction in triglycerides. And as with meat and milk, the diet of chickens influences the nutrient content of their eggs. Pastured hens lay eggs with significantly more omega-3 fatty acids, including a notable increase in DHA, fewer omega-6 fatty acids, and lower omega-3 to omega-6 ratio than conventional or organic counterparts. Additionally, eggs from pastured hens contain significantly more vitamin E and bioactive compounds including lutein. Some of the differences in the nutrition content of eggs from pastured and conventional hens do show real-world significance. For example, lutein is the primary antioxidant within the brain and retina. The consumption of just one conventional egg per day has been shown to increase serum lutein in adults by 21 to 26%. Yet pastured eggs had 2 to 3 times as much lutein as conventional, suggesting that their consumption would have notably more significant effect on lutein status. The chicken feed seems to be the most critical factor of egg nutrient composition. There are minimal differences between eggs of chickens that receive the same feeding regimen but raised either in cages or free range. And supplementation of the chicken's diet with vitamin D leads to notable doses of 100 to 400 IU of vitamin D per egg. Still, free-range chickens with regular sunlight access also produce eggs with minimally higher vitamin D concentrations. Grass-fed livestock produce meat, milk, and eggs that are more nutritious than their conventional counterparts. However, the extent of the differences depends mainly on the specific practices and environment of the grass-fed farms. There are, of course, also ethical considerations with livestock welfare. And if you're like me and opt for organic meats, I expect higher animal welfare standards versus conventional livestock. And it turns out that most Americans are actually concerned with the welfare of livestock, believing there should be an objective third party evaluating livestock welfare, and that livestock should generally be raised under conditions in line with organic criteria. So now tell me, do you eat organic and grass-fed meat? Did this video help you to understand the benefit of them? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it with somebody else that could benefit from it, and on your social media too. And remember, I post at least 3 videos a week, so hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you never miss a video. This is Amy. I will see you real soon. Bye.